Good morning, everybody. Welcome to JDB's Morning Cap. And June is finally here. It's official. Today is June 1st, 2026. May month is over. I'm happy that May is over. June is here. Because we're close to half a year of 2026. In fact, we're close to half a dozen months of 2026. So, this is a really cool moment here. But it's not a problem because it really feels like every day I've been watching and watching and watching and watching, and everybody is watching every day. So that's a matter of fact. So if that's the case, and we can see it every single way here. All right, so let's start the show. What went down in Game 7 of the Western Conference Finals on Saturday night on May 30th. In Game 7 of the Western Conference Finals. Saturday night, Victor Wemby led the way with 22 points, 7 rebounds, 1 block, 1 steal. But the guy who got it going for the Spurs in Game 7 was De'Aaron Fox. 15 points, 3 made 3-pointers after he had a rough games 5 and 6. But Julian Champagnie had 20 points, 6 made 3-pointers on Saturday night, and 6 rebounds. As I'm saying, Stephon Castle had 16 points. And then Dylan Harper was huge as well, 12 points, 5 for 8 shooting, 2 threes. Keldon Johnson, 4 for 8, 4 for 8 from the field, 2 for 5 from downtown, 11 points. Luke Cornett had a huge chase down block. When Spurs were up 97-91, it was after Dylan Harper's turnover when Hartenstein got the steal, and then Hartenstein tried to get 2 points, but the dunk attempt was denied by Luke Cornett, and he ran it down for a block, chase down block by Luke Cornett. That was the biggest play, not only of the game, the biggest play of the series. Remember, reference in Game 7 10 years ago in 2016 NBA Finals. It was a missed shot, rebound, and then Iguodala tried to score, but LeBron James delivers a chase down block. It was the biggest play of that series, was a chase down block in Game 7. We've seen several Game 7 chase down blocks in the playoffs. LeBron James did it twice. I think he did it to Iguodala in the NBA Finals. I think he did it to Jason Tatum in the 2018 Eastern Conference Finals, and now Cornette did it in this year's Conference Finals. Those are the big time don't give up on the play moments. You would never give up on the play. That's what championship contender does. You must make a play on defense, even the offense doesn't generate anything else. But the Spurs have made big shots, not just in this series, big shots in the playoffs. It's like momentum changing situations. It was a great game last night, despite the game did go down to the wire, but it wasn't considered a clutch game last night. The clutch game means that both teams requires 5 points or less with 5 minutes or less in the fourth quarter. It has to be decided by 5 points in 5 minutes. That's what is clutch game in the NBA means. The league never went to 5 with at any 5 minute mark in the fourth quarter, unfortunately. But the Spurs are Western Conference champions for the first time since 2014, and Victor Wembanyama wins the 2026 Western Conference Finals Most Valuable Player. So, the last time the Spurs went to the NBA Finals, it was in my freshman year in high school. It was a Donald Sterling scandal. That was the last time the Spurs made the finals. Jadeveon Clowney of the Texans was drafted a number 1 pick of the 2014 draft. That was the last time the Spurs won a title. Went to the NBA Finals. They did win the title as well against LeBron James with Miami Heat. So the San Antonio Spurs will face the New York Knicks in the NBA Finals. It'll be Wembanyama versus Brunson. The series will be in San Antonio to start games 1 and 2, and then it goes to New York games 3 and 4, and then if necessary, game 5 is in San Antonio, and then if necessary, game 6 is back in New York, and then if necessary, game 7 is back in San Antonio. So that's how the NBA Finals works. It's 2-2-1-1-1. That's the format. Former format was 2-3-2. So that's that. So you think about the San Antonio Spurs, it has been a outstanding 2025-26 season. Mitch Johnson's done a great job, and we all know that. San Antonio, like I said, they're kind of one of the biggest stories in the NBA. They could have, like I said, in the preseason, I picked the Spurs to be a play-in team, maybe top 6. Like at least the final spot of the top 6 playoff. And now, the reality Spurs finished not only number 2 seed with a 62-20 record. The San Antonio Spurs wins the Western Conference Finals. Remember a couple years ago, the Spurs went 22-60, one of the worst records in the NBA a few years ago. And now the rebuild has worked over the years now. It could lead to championship seasons. But Mark Daigneault did it last year, building the young talent. But this year, it's even better. Young coaches and young players have a lot of success as far as their deeper playoff runs. We've seen that in the last several years. Young coaches has Mark Daigneault and Mitch Johnson has potential playoff success. Daigneault has gone deep playoff runs these last couple of years. Mitch Johnson has gone deep playoff run for his first career postseason appearance. It's been an amazing journey for Mr. Mitch Johnson. Yeah, it's been up and down in the playoffs, but they battled their last 2 series. Spurs dominate the Trailblazers, took 5 games. And then it was the first round. And then the semifinals, it was a 6-game battle between the Spurs and the Wolves. Spurs won in 6 games. And then this round in the Western Finals, it was a 7-game battle. Spurs came back from 3-2 series deficit, trailing. It's about facing elimination in crucial performance. But the Spurs are now 2-0 in elimination games, 3-0 in clinching the series. That's how good the Spurs are in this young generation. I mean, San Antonio Spurs are one of the biggest stories over the last 3 years. They went from 2 consecutive 22-60 seasons to reaching the NBA Finals as a 2 seed in the Western Conference, representing the Western Conference. No disrespect. Spurs and Knicks had played each other in the NBA Finals before. It was 1999. And I believe the Spurs won a championship. I believe it was a really cool moment for them. So the way it really turns out, because it's good to hear. It is really good to hear because of that. It doesn't get any chances when you want to see how this is going to work. But San Antonio Spurs, De'Aaron Fox, his first, let's think of it, there's several players who's going to the NBA Finals for the first time in their careers, except for 2 players in this roster who has been to the NBA Finals and won the title. Let's start with the experience first. Harrison Barnes, I believe that's his second, right? His third. No, this is his third. His third appearance. He won 1. It was 2014-15 season with the Golden State Warriors. This is his third NBA Finals appearance. Luke Cornett, his second, if I'm correct. Luke Cornett, is that his second or his third? His second. Okay, that's okay. He played with the Bucks in 2022. So, yeah, this is his second NBA Finals appearance. First since 2024 with the Boston Celtics, and the Celtics beat the Mavericks in 5 games. When Luke got his first ring. So he's familiar with it. If Spurs win, Luke will get his second NBA title. Barnes will get his second NBA title. Fox and Wemby will get his first. That makes no sense at all. That makes no sense at all. Now, it's gonna be really critical to see how this is gonna work out for the best. So, it is always a good sign because of it. So, let's say the San Antonio Spurs are. The Spurs could be really, really good for quite a while. Let's say the Spurs could win up to 2 to 3 champions in the Wemby era, including this series against the dominant Knicks team. We'll get to that later on this week. We'll get to that tomorrow, but this Knicks team has been playing really well in the playoffs. They won 10 in a row. They swept the Cavs in the Eastern Conference Finals. They swept the Sixers in the second round. They took 4 out of 6 against the Hawks in the first round. So it doesn't matter because the Spurs can beat anyone in the playoffs. Beating the Thunder in the regular season was a big deal. Beating the Thunder in the series in the playoffs, in the Western Conference Finals, was also a big deal. The Spurs gained a whole lot of pressure. The pressure's on the Spurs in this series. And they gained it, and they respect the pressure. It's too respective because it felt like you got to make a difference. You got to make 2, 3, 4, 5. You could take 35 games out of it. Because of that, you would have done nothing with it. And that's that. You had everything to go your way. You had everything to solidify. You had everything to take your chance. You got to make your own difference. But when you're struggling, you got to take yourself out. But I would have said something that you don't like. But I do like the fact that these guys can put them in the bed. But let's say the San Antonio Spurs could win all these championships. But it's not going to matter. When we talk about the Game 7 and all that stuff, you just believed it. Either you win the battle or you lose the battle. Now, San Antonio Spurs, yeah, it's been a heck of a run for San Antonio. They deserve to beat the Thunder in this series. Period. Point blank. So, you might as well eat breakfast, you might as well eat lunch, you might as well eat dinner. San Antonio Spurs have ate all the nutrients. So congratulations to the San Antonio Spurs winning the Western Conference Finals and Victor Wembanyama winning the Western Conference Finals MVP. So it was a unanimous situation. So that's that. All right, so coming up next on JDB's Morning Count, we'll talk about the Oklahoma City Thunder. Disappointment for the Thunder did not come out of the West. We'll talk about the Thunder situation coming up next. And A.J. Brown. Will A.J. Brown be traded tomorrow? So this is a big this is gonna be a big couple of days for A.J. Brown. Also coming next, we will do Major League Baseball in-season evaluation. We're through 2 months of the season, so we're going to do an in-season evaluation for Major League Baseball for each division. So we will step away in about 3 minutes if that's going to be the case. So we're off to a really good start in the month of June. Good. We just have breaking news in the NFL. This is really tough to share for you. We will find out right after this. All right, we have breaking news in the NFL. Before I do the other segment, we just, according to ESPN insider Adam Schefter and NFL Network insider Ian Rappaport, that Super Bowl champion, former Super Bowl champion of the Seattle Seahawks, a 2012 Offensive Rookie of the Year, Walter Payton, 2020 Man of the Year, 10-time Pro Bowler, NFL passer rating leader, 2015, NFL passing touchdown leader, 2017. Russell Wilson has decided to retire after 14 illustrious seasons. Russell Wilson threw 46,966 yards, 353 passing touchdowns of his career, 114 career interceptions. He finished 65% completion percentage, which is 64.6, in 205 career games and 202 starts. He also rushed for 5,568 yards on 1,042 carries, 5.3 yards per carry, and 31 rushing touchdowns. He also went 121-80-1 as a starting quarterback and 9-8 in the playoffs. He was a third-round draft pick in 2012 and spent 10 seasons with Seattle. He spent seasons with Denver for a couple of years, Pittsburgh in 2024, and then New York Giants last season. So Russell Wilson is done after 14 seasons. So here's my question. What is next for Russell Wilson? He already planned himself already. He is going to become a CBS studio analyst for 2026-27 season and probably beyond as well. He will be working with this NFL Today host James Brown and former players like Nate Burleson and Coach Bill Cowher. Coach Bill Cowher, the NFL Hall of Famer. So they'll work with these three men this year. They'll be working with these guys all season long, all the way through the AFC Championship game. Russell Wilson will make his NFL Today debut on September 13th at noon Eastern on CBS. So, congratulations on your retirement. Now you move on to your next life, is becoming the analyst on CBS as a studio analyst. That's good. Hopefully he'll be in-game analyst soon enough. So if he explores some things here. So we've just been talking about Russell Wilson getting things done, and best moments of Russell Wilson. The greatest moment of in Russell Wilson's career was the NFC Championship game comeback against the Packers. We've seen that a handful of times of his career. Russell Wilson, here's a weird stat in his 14-season career. Russell Wilson has 47 career game-winning drives, including in the playoffs. 40 in the regular season, 7 in the playoffs. So that's the 5th most by any quarterback in NFL history. That's how good, how clutch he was for Russell Wilson as far as game-winning drives. But it was that moment that it really touches out a little bit. Something else you really want to believe. So I just want to say shout out and congratulations to Russell Wilson on your retirement. Hopefully you're moving on to your next life. All right, let's move on to let's go back to the NBA. Thunder end up losing by 8 points, 111 to 103 is your final score. SGA led the way to 35 points. The rest of these starters between Wallace, Hartenstein, Dort, and Holmgren just 31 points by the rest of these starters. Wallace had 17 points, Hartenstein had 7, Dort had 3, and Holmgren had 4. And Chet Holmgren was a no-show in Game 7. He only had 2 field goal attempts and made 1 of them. He only had 4 rebounds as well. Just lack of aggression of Chet Holmgren. He also missed 2 free throws in Game 7. The reason why they lost, Chet Holmgren struggled to be aggressive. And I have to blame Chet Holmgren what he did in Game 7. Because it feels like Chet doesn't want to get things going offensively. If Chet went off, Thunder would have won. But they have to rely on SGA. SGA is having a really tough conference finals. He's average about 24 points a game. That is not a productive performance. It has not been a productive series for SGA for multiple reasons. His field goal percentage is dipped. His turnovers are up. He just could not come through in these situations. They had to rely on so much on everybody else. They had to rely on Jared McCain. They had to rely on Alex Caruso. They had to rely on Kaysen Wallace, Isaiah Hartenstein. Just not enough firepower to win the series against the Spurs. The Spurs were clearly a better team. The Spurs were clearly a better team, and that's that. And once we said the San Antonio Spurs said we could do everything we can, something else you don't want to see is to get themselves in a prime position to get themselves to the postseason. This is what just happened. You don't want to see it happen right now. So it's really hard to show for it. All right. It is a really tough decision. It is tough to go through it. But if that's the case, then you would have seen it right now, and you put yourself in a really tough position to get into the postseason. But the Thunder, right now, here's my question. Where the Thunder go from here in 2026-27 season? And where the Thunder go from here in this offseason? I think the Thunder, give me a second. Okay. They're supposed to add some players when they get a chance. So they're probably gonna add some more players soon enough. I can't. You could have held it. Maybe you would have done it. All right, when we come back, we'll do Major League Baseball in-season evaluation, and then we'll talk A.J. Brown. We'll do all that right after this. All right, welcome back to JDB's Morning Cap. As June is here, let's take a look at the Major League Baseball in-season evaluation. Let's start with the American League East. Here, Red Sox 25-33, number 5. Number 4, Orioles 28-32. Blue Jays 29-31. Yankees 36-23. And the Rays are number 1, 36-20. That's the American League East standings as of right now. So let me ask this. All right, so let's start with the Boston Red Sox. It's been a disappointing season so far. The offense struggled. The pitching has been a little bit inconsistent. But even though they're still right there, I don't see the Red Sox getting into the playoffs because of that. And it's already made a difference because of it. So now, as for the Baltimore Orioles, the Orioles are just talented. They're talented, but they're not. Their pitching's not that great. It's just because of that. So I think Pete Alonso will turn the corner in the month of June. I think Taylor Ward will continue to do Taylor Ward things. And Gunnar Henderson. These guys can play. And I can guarantee that the Orioles offense they have a bunch of potential, but the pitching has a lot of questions. You offer Toronto Blue Jays, defending American League champs, 29-31. I think the Blue Jays season has not been derived themselves here through the first few months, but I think the Blue Jays are still in this thing with a weak wild card round. I mean, with actually a weak wild card picture. It's going to be a critical moment for the Blue Jays. The offense has so much talent. The Blue Jays have dealing so many injuries in the pitching staff and their offensive lineup, but they're still dangerous to make the postseason. Well, the New York Yankees, 36-23. Or the Yankees are clearly a World Series juggernaut, or that they need to make a move. Well, the way I see it, the Yankees are the World Series juggernaut, because despite the fact they're not in first place in the American League East, they're just a game and a half. So I'm confident that the Yankees could win division with this talented roster. You got Aaron Judge, Ben Rice, Paul Goldschmidt, Cody Bellinger, Jazz Chisholm Jr., and then you got several Austin Wells to set the tables in order in your lineup. And in the starting rotation, you got Garrett Cole, Carlos Rodon, and then you got some upcoming talented rotation like Cam Schlitter, Will Warren, and Ryan Reathers. Those are 3 younger rotations, and they all excelled it really well. Part of this Yankees starting rotation. It gets getting better each and every year because of that. Meanwhile, for the Tampa Bay Rays, the Rays have been one of the biggest stories in the American League. Their pitching's been great. The offense at times not spectacular. The defense at times not great, but they're winning. They're 36-20. They're winning games because of close game satisfaction. It's just because of that in this one here. American League Central, it's been that way for years now. The number 5 Detroit Tigers, 22-38. Royals, 22-37. Number 4. Number 3 Twins, 27-33. Number 2 White Sox, 32-27. Number 1 is the Guardians, 34-27. So, what stands out to the American League Central? I'll evaluate. Let's start with the Detroit Tigers. Tigers were a field goal story in 2024, made the playoffs, came up short in the ALDS to the Guardians. Then last year, they barely snuck into the playoffs, despite the late season collapse. They were first place for majority of the season before the Guardians took over down the stretch. However, Tigers still managed to beat the Guardians in the best of 3 wildcard series, 2 out of 3, before the Tigers lost to the Mariners in 5 games in the ALDS, 3-2, in a 15-inning fashion. And so far this season, it's been a drastic disappointment. 22-38, a bunch of injuries, including last year's Cy Young winner, American League Cy Young winner, Tariq Skubal. Hopefully he comes back later this season, but I don't know the Tigers are going to make a huge run, especially in the month of June. It has been a really disappointing first half of the season. It's been a disaster. Tigers have the most walk-off losses in baseball with 7. The bullpen has been an issue for the Detroit Tigers. Their defense has been an issue. And the offense has been an issue. The base running has been an issue. Nothing has clicked for Detroit Tigers this season. And A.J. Hinch, his team is going through it. Number 4 is the Kansas City Royals, 22-37. Their offense is bad right from the jump. The bullpen's been a little bit inconsistent. The pitching's been good. Starting pitching's been good. but the offense has really struggled big time. Bobby Wood Jr. has swung the bat really well for this team, and Salvador Perez. But the rest of the Royals, this team is not good. This team is not that good at all because of that. Number 3 is the Minnesota Twins, 27-33. They're showing signs of good progress. Their offense has actually been pretty good. The pitching's been up and down, but I like the Twins. This Twins team is playing a lot of heart. Derek Shelton's team has done a great job just putting it together. The collectiveness has been there from here on out. But it's about the growth. It's about consistency. But the Minnesota Twins, I think they're still in the mix for the American League wildcard race, or maybe and the American League Central Division, because this AL Central Division is not that strong. For the Chicago White Sox, they're the biggest story in baseball. 32-27. They've gone from the worst team in baseball 2 years ago to a 5 games ahead 500 and a second wild card in the American League. And as a matter of fact, they were just 1 game out of first place of the Guardians. So White Sox can compete with Cleveland. Should the White Sox be buyers at the deadline? Oh, yeah, they should be buyers, without a shadow of a doubt. They should be buyers at the trade deadline. And Will Venable is a American League Manager of the Year consideration right now. This season is a pleasant surprise. It's not supposed to be really good. They're supposed to be bad again. But give them credit. The Chicago White Sox are the Chicago White Sox are the biggest stories in baseball, if not one of the biggest stories. A couple of years ago, worst team in baseball. This year, second wild card leader right now, active. I think the White Sox could make the playoffs as at least a wild card team. AL Central is still in question. They still can win this division in a surprise way. The Guardians got experience, but at least for the moment, to put it bluntly, I said the American League Central, this could go down to the last game of the season, and we saw all this. I never saw all that coming by the Chicago White Sox. Like I said, they're the biggest stories in baseball. They're not one of the biggest stories. Number 1 is the Cleveland Guardians, 34-27. Well, despite the fact Guardians are not going to run away to win this division, at least not yet, I think I'm still buying the Guardians to win the American League Central because they got great pitching. They got offensive players. They got defense. They got base running. They got everything. And the manager, Stephen Vogt, he's done a great job. I think the Guardians will be there. If they can win this division, you got to go to the World Series and get that win. And Cade Smith was a big story. He's been great in the closer's role for the Guardians this season. And Jose Ramirez doing Jose Ramirez things. I know how critical would it be if it wasn't for him. Next one, the American League West. Angels 23-37, number 5. Number 4 is Houston Astros 27-34. Rangers, number 3, 28-31. A's 28-31 as well. And that's number 2. Number 1 is the Mariners 31-29. Let's start with the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. It has been a disaster season for the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. Kurt Suzuki, first year as Angels manager. First month was not bad. Then the month of May has been tough. We talk about pitching struggles. We talk about the offense not hitting the ball really well. The defense has been a bit of an inconsistent. Yeah, so the Angels pitching has been disaster. Like I said, this Angels pitching has been disaster. Meanwhile, for the Houston Astros, 27-34. Not good 2 months for the Astros. but a much better month of May. After a tough month of April, much better month of May. Pitching is starting to get better. Still not great, but they're starting to get a little bit better. They're starting to pitch deep in their games. The offense in the first month was good. Second month was okay. But Houston, hopefully month of June, will be a turnaround month. That's going to be the case. Month of June, they're going to start turning this thing around. It's going to be critical. Meanwhile, for the Texas Rangers, 28-31. It's been an up and down season for the Rangers. Pitching's still going to be good. The bullpen's good, but the offense is not. But they're right there. The Rangers are still right there. They're trying to get coming things around, but it's gonna be real different. It's gonna be a different story for the Texas Rangers to see how that's gonna go here this season. It's dirty. We offer the Athletics, same record, 28-31. They're tied for second place. They won a tiebreaker with the Rangers based on head-to-head. A's are 4-3 against the Rangers in the regular season. But the A's come off a 13-8 loss yesterday afternoon to the Yankees, including 13 runs in the third inning in favor of the Yankees, including, I believe, 10 runs before the first out of the third inning. It took 45 minutes. They used 3 pitchers in 45 minutes. It started off with Jacob Lopez, and then Michael Kelly, and Jack Perkins. It was a span of 75 pitches. The A's, they're not that bad, but they gotta get better. Nick Kurtz started to hit the ball well. He's hit 10 home runs so far, so he's already knocked in at least 40 RBIs. So we already know that. And the A's have been going through injuries. Severino's on the injury list. Aaron Savali's on the injury list. The A's still don't have Max Muncy. The A's still don't have Jacob Wilson. Brent Rooker's having a disappointing season. Lawrence Butler's having a disappointing season. Tyler Soderstrom is having a disappointing season, but he's getting better he's been better as of late. The A's bullpen has been tired. So hopefully the A's can turn this thing around. And Jacob Lopez was bad in the third inning yesterday. And the A's already sent down Jacob Lopez to AAA. Cade Morris is calling up. The A's already recently called up Gage Jump, the lefty, when he made his major league debut last Tuesday. And then you got the Seattle Mariners 31-21. The Mariners are red hot. The Mariners are red hot. So since they dropped 2 out of 3 to the Royals, the Mariners have won 6 in a row. Mariners on a 6-game winning streak. That's the longest for the Mariners all season long. So right now, Seattle started to get rolling a little bit. If they can get Cal Raleigh back, this Mariners team will be dangerous for the rest of the year and take the American League West once again. National League, Marlins 26-34, Mets 26-33. Phillies 30-29. Nationals 31-29. Braves 40-20. Let's start with the Miami Marlins. The reason why they're 26 and 34, they're very young. They're still young. I think they can still find ways to win. But we all know the Marlins are a younger, experienced team. We don't know the offense, pitching, and whatever that is. We're on for the New York Mets. It's been a rough month of March and April. Much better month of May. They had a winning month of May. They come off a sweep against the Marlins, 3 games. I think the New York Mets are just trying to keep it going. I think the Walker hopes are still alive. So they need 3 more months to make it happen. So they got to play the best final 4 months of the regular season. If they can find a way to win. Then you got the Philadelphia Phillies. They're 30 and 29. This team has been inconsistent, especially offensively. They lost 2 out of 3 to the Dodgers. They struggle to score runs. We're talking about the Philadelphia Phillies. The Philadelphia Phillies, they're supposed to be a team to beat to win the NL East or otherwise. They struggled to come through. The Braves are even better. The Nationals are better than the Phillies. And they barely played each other this year. Phillies are 2-1 against the Nationals this season. They'll see them 3 more times as far as season series. We offer the Washington Nationals. Oh, before we do that, before I put the Nationals, Phillies, Christopher Sanchez is having a solid year. Put them in a Cy Young conversation. We offer the Washington Nationals. It's been a feel-good story this year. It's been a big-time story this year. The Nationals are 31 and 29. It's after several rough seasons after the Nationals won the World Series. It's been several rough seasons. So far, it hasn't been rough. It's been much better. 31 and 29. The offense, Nationals have the best offense in baseball, but the Nationals have the worst pitching staff in baseball. It's getting better. They're getting better. They're still not great. Oh, by the way, the Nationals have won 9 of their last 14 home games after they started the home record 3-12. So they're starting to get better in this building. That's not a surprise. Oh, by the way, the Nationals just took 2 out of 3 from the Padres in Washington. So the Nationals started winning series at home. That's a good sign. If it wasn't for that, they will not be in the contenders. So I'm not buying the Nationals in the playoffs just yet. They just don't have enough firepower on the mound. Move off for the Atlanta Braves. This is a World Series team. 40 and 20, that's a World Series team. Even though they won in 2021, they haven't won many games in 2021. Even they had a winning record, they haven't won greater than 90 games. The Braves are just making this team happen. Now this year, this is a World Series juggernaut. Acuna started to get hot once again. Started to hit homers again. The Atlanta Braves, they failed to get under 20. They failed to reach before 20 losses after May 31st. The Braves took 2 out of 3 against the Reds. Had they swept them, they would have been 41 and 19. And if they didn't pick up, so let's say if you finish the first 2 months 41 and 19, they would have joined elite teams in history with most wins before they reached their 20th loss before June 1st. of this year, before June 1st. But they failed to do that. But they still have the best record in baseball, 40-20, which is not that bad. National League Central, it has been the tightest division so far this year in all of baseball. Reds are 30-28, Cubs are 32-28, same as the Pirates, 32-28. Cardinals are 31-26. The Brewers are 35-21. The Reds' offense is inconsistent. The pitching's not that bad, but they've just been inconsistent offensively. The Cubs 32-28. This team's going through some ups and downs. They have 2 10-game winning streaks and a 10-game losing streak. This team has been inconsistent as well. The Pirates are 32-28. They've been up and down as well. They got great starting pitching. Their offense is getting better. Defense, not the best, but they could do better. And the bullpen, not that strong. But this team has exceeded its expectations consistently. St. Louis Cardinals, 31-26. It's been an up and down season. Surprise, feel good story, but they can get them to the playoffs. Meanwhile, for the Milwaukee Brewers, 35-21. This team is clearly dangerous to win the Central Division. Jacob Mizorowski could win a Cy Young this year. Meanwhile, National League West, it's been a disaster. Rockies are 22-38. This team has just been inconsistent. They got better, but this team's been inconsistent. San Francisco Giants, 23-36. It's been a disaster. The offense is not that great. However, they did muster 19 runs against the Rockies yesterday in Colorado. Meanwhile, for the D-backs, 31-27. They just got swept by the Mariners. I think they're still going to be okay. The Padres are 32-26. Their offense has been inconsistent. They can't find a way to score runs. They don't hit a lot of home runs. And Tatis finally hit a home run on May 30th. It's been a long time without hitting a long ball. So he finally hit it out. And then the Dodgers, 38-21. I think they'll figure things out despite the injuries. So there's a lot going on right now. All right, let's take a look at the American League playoff picture. Number 1 is the Tampa Bay Rays with 36-20. Number 2 seed is the Cleveland Guardians, 34-27. Number 3 seed is the Seattle Mariners, 31-29. Here are the wild card picture as of right now. First wild card is the New York Yankees, 36-23. Second wild card is the Chicago White Sox, 32-27. And in the final wild card spot is the Toronto Blue Jays, 29-31. Had the playoffs start, it will be Blue Jays and the Mariners, 6 versus 3 matchup, and it'll be White Sox versus Yankees, 5 versus 4 matchup. For the National League, number 1 is the Braves, 40-20. Number 2 is the Dodgers, 38-21. Number 3 is the Brewers, 35-21. Here's the first wild card. Interesting here. First wild card is the San Diego Padres with a 32-26 record. Second wild card is the Cardinals, 31-26. And the third wild card is the Arizona Diamondbacks with a 31-27 record. Had the playoffs started, it will be D-backs and the Brewers, and then Cardinals and Padres for the National League Wild Card Series. Want to stay that way, right? Oh, Lord. All right, when we come back, we'll talk A.J. Brown. Welcome back to JDB's Morning Cap. Let's talk AJ Brown. The Patriots, AJ Brown, whether or not he'll be traded tomorrow. So there's a chance that AJ Brown will be traded to the Patriots really soon. So we gotta get yourself ready, get your popcorn ready. If AJ Brown heads to New England, it's going to be downright excited. All right, so I won't talk this long. So let's talk about AJ Brown for a few minutes. AJ Brown, I know he's been going through it this offseason. The reason why he's been going through it, he's been going through some mental health challenges. But it's not out of this question because it feels like when your team goes through pain, it's more than painful because of that. And I don't want to see that situation to go. You gotta let this pain go away, heal it. It's tough to get through that. But AJ Brown is heading to New England. AJ Brown is possibly going to head to New England to renew their offense. And the Philadelphia Eagles offense expect to be somewhat challenging about Jalen Hurts' situation. The connections from Jalen Hurts with AJ Brown possibly being gone is going to be a problem. And we already know that. But technically, there's several teams will be still right there because of it. So it's always the time and the place you wanted to see right now. All right, let's close it out on JDB's Morning Cap. Coming up tomorrow, we'll talk NBA Finals history since 2013. We're also going to talk NFL, and the list goes on and on. As we do all that stuff here, we kick off June 1st. All right, man, that's it. This is JDB's Morning Cap, and we'll catch you back here tomorrow.